And oh yes, I do still have some cereal left over from last week. Mm-mm-mm. My fancy dinner once more. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to get set up here again so I can see the chat. Hope you're all having a fantastic evening. All right, what's my channel called again? There we go. I love anyone coming in here right now and just thinks I accidentally hit go live and I'm just doing stuff on the computer. No, no, just pulling up the chat. Oh, there's my voice. There's me sitting there looking thrilled. There's my backwards posters behind me. Cool. All set up. Chat is ready to go. Yeah, no midnight screenings this week. There's not much out, really. Well, I am gonna do some like mini midnight screenings reviews. Welcome to exclusive movie reviews. Is that a super? There's a highlighted thing on there. Welcome to exclusive movie reviews. Yeah, there is. I actually did just put up an exclusive movie review. I watched Wake Up Dead Man earlier. During Jack's nap time, I looked at the runtime for that movie. It was like 2.5 hours. That's just enough time to watch Wake Up Dead Man and find the time to review it too before Jack wakes up all cranky and wants his milk. But no, so I've got that over on the members only section and also on Patreon as well. I am gonna see Silent Night, Deadly Night, the remake. I'm seeing that. I think I'm seeing that tomorrow night. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing Ella McKay, the James L. Brooks movie. I'm seeing that on Monday because I'm going to do 2 movies on Monday. I want to get back into doing those mystery movie things that they do where you don't know what the hell you're walking into or what you're going to see. And they're doing one on Monday at 7. So I'll have those up. I'm excited for the new Silent Night, Deadly Night. I don't know what the word on it is yet. I haven't seen reviews or anything for it because I haven't seen the movie yet. But no, I love the casting for it. I guess it's sort of technically the second remake, kinda, sorta. I mean, unless you want to count all the stock footage from the first one in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. But there was the Silent Night, what was that, 2010, that had Malcolm McDowell in it, which wasn't quite a remake. Like, it had a couple of nods to the first movie. It more kind of did its own thing other than some callbacks to the other way. 2012, thank you, they said in the chat. I do have a snob episode. Well, I have a snob episode on every single one of them. I wouldn't mind redoing an episode. I mean, I doubt I will, but because it is already on YouTube. Usually when I remake an episode for the snob, it's usually so it can be on YouTube. Like I redid the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one because I did that episode back in the blip days, and there would be a lot of snipping and cutting to do to get it over on the YouTube channel, and the quality of the review wasn't that great either. The quality was already not that good to begin with, but then saving it off of Blip TV like lessened the quality a bit more. And I had done episodes later on Chainsaw 2, 3, 4, the others whenever they'll win the poll over on Patreon. So I was like, well, I'll go ahead and redo Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That way it can be on YouTube with the others. It's the same reason I redid Friday the 13th, but the review for Friday the 13th Part 5. And I might redo Friday the 13th 3 just so I can have a 2D version of it, because that episode was shot in 3D. It wasn't converted later. Maybe I'll redo that one at some point, just again, so there could be like a 2D version of it. But if you got any questions or anything, feel free to put in the super chat. I don't have much to do tonight. No movie screenings tonight. I already watched a movie early this afternoon. Already wrote and shot the snob episode. for next one. The episode on Cobra is going up on Monday. That's on Patreon. Just wrote one for Terrifier 3, which I guess will be the last one of the last Christmas episode of the season. I wanted to squeeze in I Know What You Did Last Christmas, a VOD movie that's out now. And I referenced it in one of the episodes that I did recently. Like, I know what you did. I I didn't know that was a real movie at first. I mean, I knew it was a real movie when I referenced it in the episode. But when I first heard of it, it was I think it was over on Facebook, and I was scrolling. Yeah, it was. I was scrolling through, and I thought it was one of the fake AI posters that they put up there for like remakes or sequels or whatever that don't actually exist, and the fake posters are really, really hilarious. I saw one the other day. It was a fake poster for it was Wicked 3, and Glinda and the Wicked Witch were it was Wicked 3 on Earth. Glinda, the Good Witch, they're looking over New York City. And the tagline was something like, they defied gravity. Let's see if they can handle the Big Apple. Again, another movie I wish existed. Just based on that fake-ass tagline alone. No, so that was where I first saw the poster for I Know What You Did Last Christmas, and I thought it was fake until I kind of looked closer at the poster and was like, wait, that looks like a VOD movie. And it is. And I wanted to squeeze in a review of that, which could be easy enough because I think it's only like a 70-minute movie. And if it's anything like any of those other movies, probably not a lot happens in it. But would probably still be better than the 2025 I Know What You Did Last Summer that we had this year. I just couldn't find a copy of it that I could edit with, was the problem. Maybe by next year I can find a copy to edit with and do an episode on, even if that is counting on a year going by and I still remember that movie exists. I Know What You Did Last Christmas. But if you've seen I Know What You Did Last Christmas, for whatever reason, let me know how it is. I'm still disappointed there wasn't a sequel to Freddy's Fridays. One of the worst of those mockbusters that I've seen recently. Maybe not of all time, but recently. Oh, here we go. We got a super chat question in here. Any chance you can review Gramp Goes to College? That one's been recommended to me before. Let me look this up. These suggestions I do add to my lists to put them over on the Patreon polls. Gramp Goes to College. I hope it's just as good as that Caveman Goes to College movie. Was it a Caveman Goes to College or was it Bigfoot? Bigfoot on Campus? Caveman or Bigfoot? You know, both of those things probably exist. Gramps Goes to College. Oh, fantastic poster. Looks like a poster for a pilot for a TV series that didn't get picked up. 2014, that checks out. Oh, well, this looks like it will be good material because it's got a 1.4 on IMDb. 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. So a couple of critics were like, it's fine, it's heartwarming. Grandpa went to college. 2.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. That's not too bad. They were a little more forgiving on Letterboxd. Oh, well, now I know this would be excellent material for the show because it's over on Tubi TV. I can always count. If I need to watch a movie for the show, I can always count. I can find a copy of it on Tubi. I just shot an episode on Terrifier 3. It's over on Tubi. Shockingly, Cobra wasn't. Invasion USA was. Cobra wasn't, probably because, well, Canon did Cobra with Warner Brothers, so that's probably why. I guess Cobra would that probably be on HBO Max, maybe? I'm sure it's on Amazon, but yeah, Invasion USA, that's hardcore over on Tubi. Here we go. Gramps goes, all right. Oh, by the way, sorry. The Gramps Goes to College question was from John Bondi 52. Sorry about that. Thank you so much for the question. Domingos Jr. 6805 says, "Are you following the Poonaverse movie?" You know, I hear that the Bambi one is pretty good. A buddy of mine saw it, and he said it was pretty solid. I like that second Pooh movie. That was a legit, like, pretty good slasher. I really enjoyed that, and you can tell they definitely listened to that. That is a universe they want to continue, and they listened to a lot of the criticisms that were geared towards that first Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Yeah, the chat's sticking up for the Bambi one. I haven't seen the Neverland one. I'm gonna do episodes on them. Usually with those, this used to be the case for the porn episodes where I would do episodes on the adult movie, the porn parodies. If maybe I had a con that weekend, or it would be some week where I got something going on and not a whole lot of time to edit or watch something. So the porn parodies were perfect for that. Uh, that's kind of when I do the Jagged Edge Pictures movies. Like I did. I don't think this was Jagged Edge, but I did. But it's the same ballpark. The Popeye the Slayer Man one. I kind of know that there's not that they'll be kind of short-ish episodes. They're usually not very long. It doesn't take long to watch. It doesn't take long to write. Usually editing, it's not. It doesn't take quite as long as it does like a standard episode. So that's kind of what I save those type of reviews for. So I am gonna do um, the Neverland one because I think that one's the next one after that second Pooh movie. Again, probably on a week where I got like a convention coming up, and then there's the Bambi one. I don't know what one they're doing after that. They had a big ad for them when I went to go see the second Pooh movie in the theater. Usually, I do try to catch those theatrically. I didn't see. Again, I was probably gone. But oh well, I also when the Neverland movie came out and also the Bambi one. Uh, having a baby at home and everything. I was not seeing quite as many movies this year as I was the previous year. So those I missed. But again, I'm trying to get back to more now. There's a few movies I'm seeing this weekend because I want to. It's kind of perfect to have some exclusive content over on Patreon and the members only section as well. Um, okay, this is from Corbin Armstrong? Is that what it says? Because it's cutting off the name, and I apologize for that. It says Corbin Armstr, so I'm filling in the blank that's what it says. Oh, someone pointed out there's going to be a Killer Snow White movie too. Oh, there better be. There was a darker one in the past, wasn't there? The Sigourney Weaver one. I remember seeing that and I liked it. Caught that on cable one night. Uh, Hey Brad, do you think that Netflix or Paramount will buy Warner Brothers? I'm really hoping Netflix wins again, like they just did. No Paramount, please, not them. That's not really a story I'm following very much, to be honest. I mean, I know that that's a thing that's going on, but all I kind of know is just the headlines for it. I guess between Netflix and Paramount. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess Netflix would be the better one. I guess. I mean, I don't like what that CEO says about movie theaters, but whatever. I think isn't the quality of a lot of Netflix's programming a bit better than Paramount's? Oh, I'm not 100% sure exactly, but no, I'm sorry, I can't comment too much more on that. It's just not really a thing that I'm following. Whoever buys it though, release that Batgirl movie that's got Michael Keaton in it. Just whoever promises to do that, they'll be the one that I root for. And also bring back the Arch Deluxe. I know McDonald's has nothing to do with this conversation. I just got to squeeze that in there somewhere. I needed another cause after Crystal Pepsi came back, so it's got to be the Arch Deluxe. SGE Drew says, excuse me, once I scroll back up. Um, Sorry, I scrolled all the way down. There's Gramps Go to College. There's Pooniverse. All right, here we go. Um, hey Brad, my copy of Jesus Bro and the Snob movie came in. I'm a priest and I love Jesus Bro way better than God's Not Dead. Thank you for the laughs. Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, God's Not Dead has a little bit of an edge because it's got evil Sorbo in it. And Sorbo does do a really good job in that movie. I remember even when we reviewed it back in 2014, we were like, well, Kevin Sorbo's really good in this. He's having a great old time playing evil atheist professor who forces his students to say God's dead or you're kicked out of my class. I ran into the dude who played there's a part in that movie where when Josh Whedon gives the speech at the end and he's like, everyone stand up if you believe God's not dead or something like that. And saw a thing in the chat too about Sorbo being good with fans. I got a story about that too. And everyone in the class stands up. They're like, yeah, God's not dead. Except for one guy who's just still seated. And I ran into that dude. He watches my show. And he was at a con one time. I interviewed him one time too, I think. And he was talking about that. And he said, man, I can't remember if he said it was intentional or not. But he said that's the take. They were going to reshoot that part, but he couldn't come back for it or something like that. So they used the take that's in the movie where the one guy just remains seated, who's just like, yeah, sorry, Josh Whedon, you haven't convinced me yet. Get Professor Sorbo back in here. He's gonna give me an A for being seated down. Wait, what's that? He's hit by a car and died? Oh, never mind. Let's hope the new professor is as cool as Professor Sorbo. No, I met Kevin Sorbo briefly. I mean, I saw him a bunch because there was a year where I did the Wizard World circuit. That was fun. I loved doing that, and I would love to do that again too. Do like the whole circuit like that. And he was one of them who was also on the circuit that year, and he was promoting Let There Be Light, the movie that he directed and starred in. And he was promoting that, and I was promoting Jesus Bro. Yeah, they were both new that year. And they both have the same plot. I mean, coincidentally, they have the same plot. Like, because it's kind of a common plot you would see in a movie like that. Like, popular atheist guy has a near-death experience and finds Jesus. Like, they just happen to have the same plot, except mine was a parody and his was played pretty straight. And it's debatable though which is funnier. But no, he got a picture with me because yeah, we both had these kind of similar-ish movies, and I went up, asked for a picture. Yeah, he was he was a good sport about it. He was. It's a hilarious picture, by the way, because I'm short. I'm 5'5". Kevin Sorbo, when he's standing next to me, he looks like he's 8'9". So it's one of the funniest pictures. When you look at that picture, then you're like, okay, now I see why Brad is usually standing on an apple box when he's in movies. When I did the second Snob movie, if I'm not walking in the scene, I'm usually standing on me and Tamara. We had our own like height boxes. I'm usually standing on something in the shots. Not because it wasn't one of those like oh, I demand people think that I'm tall, because everyone knows I'm short. I don't care. No, it was more just like the framing just looks better, so there's not me with another actor and then just kind of a bunch of dead space up here. Oh yeah, those apple boxes came in handy on the set of that movie. I don't think I had to do that in Jesus Bro. I was only in one scene in Jesus Bro. But thank you for the question and for getting the movies too. If you like the first Snob movie, check out the second one. I like the second one quite a bit. Dr. Gold Dry Browser says, "Where's your snob chair? Will you get a new one?" Oh, the snob chair, it's in storage with a lot of other stuff that I have from the office. Um, it just doesn't, it's kind of big. It doesn't really fit where I shoot my episodes now. It wasn't a decision to, oh, I'm going to start sitting on something else now. It was when we all started shooting our stuff from home, because beforehand I was shooting in the studio, and which was cool. Yeah, it's a great studio, and it's close to where I live and everything. So yeah, it was cool going out and kind of having my own office and where I could edit and film in the studio and everything. And then the lockdowns happened, so we all started shooting from home. And I was filming like in the closet. I was filming just in like the spare bedroom that we had. And so then I just got so used to filming and editing everything at home, especially then with Jack being born. Um, it just makes more sense that I shoot and edit from home. So the chair, unfortunately, doesn't fit in this room that I film in right now. So I just sit in my computer chair with the posters in the background. But if I ever do get like a bigger area to shoot in, then yeah, it's a comfy chair. I do miss that chair. And it's way less creakier than the damn chair I sit in now to do it. There's a lot of lines that I have to redo because I might put my arm down and oil this damn computer chair. James Moyner says, if you haven't seen it, check out the 80s TV movies, The Zany... Oh, wait, you had me at Zany. The Zany Adventures of Robin Hood, starring George Segal as Robin, Morgan Fairchild as Marion, and Roddy McDowall as Prince John. That's a good cast for a movie that's got Zany in the title. Let me look this up. Zany Adventures of Robin Hood. If it was several years ago, I'd probably review something called The Erotic Adventures of Robin Hood. I wish I could have gotten around to reviewing The Erotic Adventures of Pinocchio, where it's not his nose that grows. That's not me making the joke. That's the tagline on the poster. Zany Adventures of Robin Hood. No Rotten Tomatoes score for it, but 5 out of 10 on IMDb. That makes sense. 80% of movies have a 5 out of 10 on IMDb. Made for television spoof. Oh, they have to specify that a movie with zany in the title is a spoof. I'm curious, is it a TV movie or is it one of those unsold pilots? Scroll. Oh, it's got guest stars in it. And I don't know who any of these guest stars are. One critic on Wikipedia, the New York Times, not a fan of this movie, called it strained. He is not a fan of strained zaniness. I'll write that one down for the polls. I like the title. And if it's bad, that gives me something to work with. Hey Brad, long time no see. What's your opinion of a Serbian film? Didn't I review that once? Speaking of stuff I could never do a snob episode on today. I understand it's too much for a lot of people, but if you can get past it, I think it's a solid movie. Merry Christmas. Yeah, I didn't like it. I thought it was, I'll say nice things about it. The acting is very good. The plot is very, very good. It's a good-looking movie. Someone quoted and said, see it on a date, on a first date. Did I say that about the movie? Sounds like something I would have said in my review. No, it's the porn star is hired to take part in this kind of new type of porn the guy's doing, so they're following him with cameras and presenting him with these situations, and sex happens and a lot of violence and both. Once I was with it in the setup, because again, I only saw this movie once, so and it was when it came out, so I'm kind of going back in my memory. Once it got to where it was just a smorgasbord of shock for the sake of shock, and sure, they're like, oh, this shocking thing really means this. Does it? Um, yeah, then I was just kind of like, I am just kind of out. I watched the whole thing. I mean, I didn't duck out of it or anything like that. I was like, well, maybe it'll have a happy ending. Guess it does. No, it doesn't. Yeah, this movie's all coming back to me. I'm not gonna watch that movie again. Um, Props to everyone else who's reviewed it. I did a vlog on it years ago. Um, yeah, there's not much in that movie I want back in my head, honestly. But you know, if you like it, again, it's a well-made movie. It is. I Yeah, once it just kind of turned into just, oh, what are they gonna do to shock you next, and not that much else to it. I kind of got a little bored with it. Um, Omnicidal Clown 1992. Today is Dick Van Dyke's 100th birthday. He is the man made it to 100. This man gives me a lot of inspiration. You know, I deal with bad fatigue. This is putting it lightly. Very bad fatigue. I do. Like there's some pretty rough days. Um, and then I look at him. I'm like he's 100 and he's at the gym kicking ass. What the hell am I freaking complaining about? I will go back to the gym, and I have been. It's been helping me out quite a bit. But I was like, he's in really good shape. He's still exercising and doing everything. He does like a couple of dance moves sometimes too. He's gonna make it to 100. Now let's see if he can make it to 200. I have a feeling that he will. I did. I don't think I did an episode on any movie with him. Other than uh when a movie of his would pop up in one of the year retrospectives. So I talked about Mary Poppins in 1964 in film. Um, but I'm not sure if he popped up in any exploitation movie that would be good for my show. He's got this like melodrama from the early 80s that didn't get very good reviews. I think it might have been Siskel and Ebert's Dog of the Week. Maybe that would be a good stock fifth choice for something. Um, I already answered this earlier, but Deshaun Edwards, 6412. Yeah, dude asked this one earlier too. Thoughts on Warner Brothers Discovery being bought by either Paramount or Netflix? I don't know enough about the situation to really have much of an opinion on that. I've only really kind of seen headlines. I get behind on a lot of stories, so that I don't know. I guess Netflix would be the better one. I do watch HBO Max a lot. When I'm relaxing for the night, it's either a cooking show or a true crime show. They gotta figure out a way to blend both of those things. There is an episode of Columbo where it had Martin Landau in it, and he was like a celebrity chef, and he was twin brothers too. I do remember that. That combined cooking shows and murder. But I mean in a documentary sense. I've been watching one. There's a show over on HBO Max. It's a true crime series. It's called The Real Murders. What's it called? Real Murders of Elm Street? The True Murders of Elm Street? Something like that. It's just a true crime series where the murders just happen to take place on an Elm Street, which means all the reenactments are shot like a horror film. There's jump scares in them. It's lit like it is like an old horror movie. They have like synth music playing over it. I'm sitting there. I say to Laura, I'm like, if I ever die horribly, make sure it's featured on a show like this. And she's like, I will. She's like, I'll tell the cops, no, or I'll tell the producers, no, this is actually what he would have wanted. They'll be doing stuff on that show where The killer comes home. He's sitting there watching TV in like a hood, close up of shifty eyes. Someone will be chopping radishes in the background, and he's gazing over at the knife, slowly cutting. And in the real story, someone probably went to go check out something in a basement or whatever. The way they film it in this, it looks like they're walking into like a basement from like a haunted house or home invasion movie or something like that. Rats crawling everywhere, emphasize on the cobwebs. Silly, but I'm going to watch more episodes. There's a Friday the 13th one too. Murders that happen to take place on Friday the 13th. Or at camps. I don't know. Maybe both. Fiery Phoenix 2501. Brad, years ago on Cameo, I asked you about Ozploitation movies. Are you planning to film one on Razorback? Let me remind myself what Razorback is. I think I know what that is, but I just want to double check. Yes, because I talked about that. That's what I thought it was. The one about the boar, right? Did I talk about that in 1984 in film? I feel like I did. I talk about hundreds of movies in those episodes, so it takes me a minute. A while, but that sounds like it would be up my alley. I don't think there's a lot of Ozploitation movies I did. I did The Day After Halloween, which that's the American title. What's the Split Shot or Snapshot? Is that the original title of it? I did that. I remember thinking that one was okay, but I mean, I only did it because it was the Halloween season and they retitled it The Day After Halloween, even though it has nothing to do with Halloween. Oh, I did the Hard Knuckle, the Mad Max knockoff that was about billiards, where you lose, you get a finger chopped off. I referenced that in when I wrote Class of '86. There's a part in the post-apocalyptic scene where they're playing Hard Knuckle. I had to remind myself, what were the rules of Hard Knuckle again? If there even were freaking rules to Hard Knuckle. No, Razorback. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna, just so I don't forget, I'm gonna write these down so I can put some of these on the poll. I'll use Jack's crayon. He doesn't mind. Razorback, Gramps, Zany Robin Hood. All right, you guys are giving me a lot of good stuff to work with here. Laura will see this and think Jack wrote that. What are you planning on showing him? What have you been showing him? Okay. AJ Canada Pictures. Brad, have you ever gone to MyCast? It's a fun site where you can fantasy cast movies that might be cool for a stream. No, I haven't. I haven't heard of this actually. Is it like a layout type thing or something like that? Like when people do the tier lists? Those are fun to do. We did that one on we had lively debates when we were doing the fast food rankings on there. I was like, my vote's gonna be to put White Castle on the S tier because I know you guys are all gonna give it like a C or below. Got to get it up there somewhere. Even if I have to alter my rating, slightly alter the rating. Well, in my heart, it's S tier. But no, sorry, I haven't been to that. I haven't been to that site, but yeah, if I can figure out how to do that on the stream, that's not a bad idea. Even doing like some tier list stuff. I guess I've never really done that before. Domingos Jr. 6805 says Pinocchio with Robert Englund and Richard Brake. Is that a real thing? Hang on. It better be. Is that going to be another Pooniverse movie? They got Robert Englund and Richard Brake for it? Oh, Pinocchio Unstrung. It is, yeah, okay, it is. It is a Pooniverse movie. Well, I guess they call it the Twisted Childhood universe. No, Pooniverse is better. Isn't that what they originally called it? The Pooniverse? Robert Englund is the cricket. Better casting than the dub voice work that they did in the Roberto Benigni version that had Regis in it. I think Jay Leno was in there somewhere. Those voices didn't fit those actors. Wasn't Breckenmeyer Roberto Benigni in that movie? That would be one I could do an episode on. Holy crap. It's a good looking movie. That's always my go-to compliment when it's something I give a negative review to. It's a good looking film. Serbian film, good looking movie. Once you get past the newborn shit in it, fuck. Jesus, when I watched that movie, fuck. I was sitting there like holding on to the remote. Like if someone walks in and I'm watching this, how do I explain this? Especially if it's Chris Hansen who walks in. Oh my god. Can I get an autograph? I love your show. Great casting, man, though. Richard Brake, Robert Englund, Pooniverse movie, Pinocchio. Sold, dude. Absolutely sold on this. I did a members only review of Sisu 2 that had Richard Brake in it. Fun ass movie, too. The closest, those Sisu movies, closest we get to like or not American, but Bollywood movies that aren't Bollywood movies. Boy, it's insane. It's a lot of fun. In the first few minutes of Sisu 2, I was sitting there going like, because I love the first one, and I hadn't seen a trailer for the second one yet, so I went in without having seen the trailer. And I was sitting there in the first few minutes thinking like, Stephen Lang would be really good in these movies. And not even 30 seconds later, Stephen Lang shows up in it as the villain. I'm like, it's true. God's not dead. He granted my wish. Stephen Lang is in one of these movies. Then Richard Brake shows up in it. Well, this movie is... I know I'm only 5 minutes into this, but it's going to get a positive review from me. Oh, was that the last one? Oh, we can hang out here for a little bit longer in case any more comes in. Yeah, the chat likes Sisu too. If you like the first one, man, second one's great too. There's some outlandish stuff that happens in it. You'll be on the verge of going like, oh, come on. But it's done so well and it's unpredictable. You want to see how they're going to top the next action sequence. Man, they do a thing in the movie where, because the movie's really kind of one big chase movie, and they do a thing where, because he's hauling a bunch of wood, he's trying to cross the border so he can rebuild his house. So he's hauling a bunch of wood in this truck. This enemy plane goes flying towards him. Pilot ejects out. Plane is barreling towards our hero in the truck, who I must have looked into the future and wondered what Jason Statham in Transporter 2 would do. So our hero, slams on the brakes, couple pieces of wood go over the truck to make a ramp. Plane hits that ramp, safely flies over the truck, and then crashes and later blows up. I'm sitting there like, you what? But I'm like, I want to see how they're going to top this. That's the only thing. I could give away how they top it, but I recommend this movie. I want you to see it. Okay, we got a couple more in here. This is from Jaeger Hosmer, who says, I have so many questions to ask, but I want to torture myself. Should I sit through Smurfs or Shadow Force? I adore Joe Carnahan, so I'm thinking Shadow Force. Honestly, because you adore Joe Carnahan, which so do I, watch Smurfs. Shadow Force will break your heart. that he's somehow the director of this movie. To go from Cop Shop to, I honestly really want to know what behind the scenes was like on Shadow Force, because oh my god, Cop Shop, that topped my list of best of the year that year. I love Joe Carnahan. I dig a lot of his movies. I don't know if Shadow Force was kind of a director for hire thing. I know Kerry Washington was a big producer on it. Um, there's you can't tell it that Joe Carnahan has anything to do with that movie. It's already like kind of a choppy action movie, but then you add the annoying sidekick sassy kid into it who is in like the whole movie, man. It's like what one part kind of not gritty, but one part R-rated action movie, and then one part Cop and a Half, except that's kind of doing a disrespect to Cop and a Half. Because I can get some laughs out of Cop and a Half. I love grumpy ass Burt Reynolds with that kid in the movie. But in Cop and a Half, one, that kid in Cop and a Half, that character had more laughs than the kid in Shadow Force. And also in Cop and a Half, whenever the kid would be annoying, the movie acknowledged it because that was the point. Burt Reynolds is supposed to be constantly annoyed by this kid, and Burt Reynolds is doing it incredibly well. And it had Ray Sharkey as the villain, and Ray Sharkey's always great as this like crooner villain who loves like nightclub singing and shit, but he's also a crime boss. No, the kid and no one in Shadow Force is aware that this kid is annoying. Just to give you an example, there'll be like a hardcore shootout going on. Kerry Washington will be like, "Oh fuck," or something like that. It cuts to the kid sitting there with earmuffs on, going, "Mommy, you said a bad word." It's that for 90 minutes. Mm. It won't. It's the only movie I've seen this year that I gave an F to. I give Fs out really, really rarely. I gave that one an F. I don't think it'll top my worst of list, even though it is the most mad that I got watching something this year. But there is a movie that would top my worst list just for technical reasons. Not because I hated it more than the other one, just sort of technical filmmaking reasons. You can probably guess what it'll be, but we'll do a worst. I don't know if I'll be able to do a best. I'll definitely do a worst of list. A best of, I don't know. There's too much I haven't seen really. But worst of, I've seen enough for there to be a worst of. I've seen Shadow Force. So go ahead and watch Smurfs. That's. Are you talking about the first or the first one with Neil Patrick Harris or the one that came out this year? I mean, either way, you lose. But that's kind of saying something about how annoying Shadow Force is, where I look at those two movies together and you'd think Smurfs would be the one that I would be like, don't watch that, it's annoying. And no, I'm saying the R-rated action movie, way more annoying than Smurfs. Man, that new Smurfs movie, I don't know if it'll be on my bottom 10. I mean, it's bad. It's bad. I just feel like I've seen 10 movies that I gave lower grades to, and I gave the new Smurfs a pretty low grade. I think the new Smurfs would probably, if Rob did a worst of list, that might top his, because I remember he gave that an F. I might have given it a D or a D plus, maybe. I don't know, probably a D. I don't know what would have been in it for me to be like, I'll be nice and give it a D plus. Oink Master Supreme. Awesome movies that you thought were gonna suck. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot. Off the top of my head, I don't think I necessarily thought this movie was gonna suck, but I remember how annoyed I was at the advertising for Lone Survivor, the Peter Berg movie. Not that I thought it was a bad trailer or anything like that, but it was. That trailer was in front of every single thing that we were going to see. And it got to be a bit much after a while how many times we had to sit through the trailer, and I remember being like, can this please come out already? Oh my god, it made me not look forward to it, even though it's not like I thought it was a bad trailer. I just got tired of seeing the trailer, then saw the movie and loved it. Peter Berg's great director, like, so yeah, no, I dug the hell out of the movie. I got into it pretty good. It's an intense ass flick. I highly recommended it when it came out. So I don't think I thought that was gonna suck, but I was pleased when I went to go see it, and I really, really enjoyed it. Um, I think kind of in the same vein where I remember Illumination used to be just so bad. It just like every movie, the trailer and everything for these Illumination movies, and also like all of the stuff that would be in the theater lobby, like it was a bit much. And I think that was a thing with Sing, where I probably thought Sing was gonna suck when I went to go see it, just for how much we were tired of all the advertising for it. Then I saw it, and I don't think I loved it, but I didn't. It wasn't bad like I thought it probably would be. Actually, kind of like the second one, where the villain is like telling the hero he's gonna cut his heart out and shit, and he's like hanging him off of balconies. You got this villain who's like, if you crossed Weinstein with Suge Knight, but he's like, what was he in that movie? Was he a rhinoceros or something? I can't remember, but I kind of like the second Sing movie. I probably thought Sing 2 was gonna suck because I went to go see Secret Life of Pets 2, and I hated that movie. I probably thought like, oh, another bad Illumination sequel. I don't even love a lot of Illumination movies. So I probably thought Sing 2 was gonna be bad, but ended up thinking it was fine. Um, Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Jog some of my maybe you guys will jog some of my memories. Um, oh, apparently I missed some super chats above the. Sorry, guys. I'll get to those. I'm scrolling up now. Razorback, Pinocchio. I scrolled down too much earlier, so I missed some super chats. I'm getting to those now. Thank you. Ace Tigra says, "Are you familiar with Aerobicide?" Yeah. Killer Workout? I know it is Killer Workout. Yeah. It seems like perfect material for a snob episode. It's a smorgasbord of 80s-ness. Yeah, I reference it in, I did an episode on Death Spa, and I referenced Killer Workout. I think I might have shown like a TV spot for it in the commercial break for the review of Death Spa. Then I put it on the poll the next week, but it didn't. Killer Workout didn't win. But I'll add it again in there because that would be a fun. I got a ton of material out of Death Spa. Holy crap! And I'd seen Death Spa before, sometime in the '90s when I rented it, but watching that again for an episode, I was like, this is going to be like a 30-minute episode or something. There was a lot I forgot about this movie. All the possessions and ghost stuff in there, the crazy dialogue and characters and death scenes. Oh man. Even if Killer Workout is like half the material that Death Spa gave me, that's still a lot of freaking material. Sean Scanlon 7211 says, "Brad, welcome back to streaming. It's been over a year." No, I did one last week, but I'm trying to do a lot more of these. Mainly on weekends where there's not a midnight screenings. Possible snob episode on Continental Divide with John Belushi. That's a good movie. That's a really good movie. I talked about it in 81 in film. No, I talked about it in that. I was like Continental Divide. I mean, just in that limited filmography that he had, he showed just so much versatility because you look at Jake Blues, you look at Bluto, You look at little part that he had in Old Boy Friends. You look at Continental Divide. Those are all wildly different characters. Oh, and Neighbors, especially Neighbors is great with him and Dan Aykroyd. You look at all these, and they're just each wildly different characters that he does perfectly, and he does this kind of romantic comedy drama very well in Continental Divide. No, I really like that one. I don't know if I would do a snob episode on it necessarily, because I mean I talked about it in the whatever in year and film series that was in. Or would I do Canon Films Fool for Love with Sam Shepard and Kim Basinger? Maybe as like a stock fifth choice. That's another one that I did talk about in whatever year that movie came out. I did talk about it in it, so I remember it had kind of a bonkers ass trailer. Um, Sean Scanlon, have you seen One Battle After Another yet? I'm surprised you haven't done a review of it after it came out. It's brilliant. Favorite P.T. Anderson movies, Boogie Nights. Yeah, my favorite one's Boogie Nights too. I really liked One Battle After Another. I did go see it. I just didn't review it. I kind of just went to go see it on my own. But no, I enjoyed the hell out of it. Like, you know, you have this very kind of political story about these vigilantes. He's on the run, but he's been smoking so much weed over the past decade or so that he's having trouble, like, remembering what he's supposed to do, remembering what like a password is and stuff like that. And then it's kind of getting into this like human, like family story with paternity tests and everything that involves car chases. It was funny. I really, really enjoyed it. Uh, DiCaprio was hilarious in that movie. So was uh oh God, Sean Penn stole that movie, man. Sean Penn, he's gonna get an Oscar nomination for that one. That was a great character, and I can't give anything away, but my God, his last scene in the movie, this poor son of a bitch. Benicio del Toro was great in that too. Yeah, no, I saw it I did see it like the week that it came out. It's not as fresh in my memory right now. I know it hasn't been that long ago that it came out. I see so many movies that when it's a couple weeks later, I'm just kind of remembering it in bits. But yeah, it was like a 3 hour movie. It was worth it. I probably liked Licorice Pizza. I almost said Mystic Pizza. Oh, that great P.T. Anderson, Julie Roberts movie, Mystic Pizza. I probably like Licorice Pizza better. Licorice Pizza that was like number 2 or 3 on my best of list that year. One Battle After Another. If I were to do a best of list this year, yeah, it'd be on it. I don't know if it'd be in the top 5, but it'd be on it. I mean, I haven't seen as many movies this year, so maybe it would be in the top 5 just because there's just a lot I haven't seen. Um, Domingos Jr. 6805. It's not a request, but you should totally watch Philaday, the violent German animated giallo with cats. Oh, we did. There's midnight screenings of that Jared and I did. Yeah, man, that was great for the reason you just said. Violent murder mystery featuring cats. Oh yeah, you got me sold, dude. No, I enjoyed the hell out of that. I don't. Gosh, was that my first time seeing it? It might have been. Or it at least had been a long time since I'd seen it before. But no, Jared and I reviewed that, and yeah, we both liked it. We both gave it a very positive review. Sean Scanlon. What? What happened to Sarah, Irving, and Ryan? What do you mean what happened to them? They were on and everyone loved them. I know, but they haven't been on camera for years. Oh, wow, you're right. Someone paid to have a conversation with themselves. I'm reading someone's text message. No, we keep in touch all the time. You know, I moved up here about 6 years ago, and but I go back and visit Springfield every year. No, we're always like, shoot, even if it's just like a text or something like that, we keep in touch with each other. Whenever I go back to Springfield, we get together and hang out a lot. We try to pick a night where we have dinner. You know, they were here for the baby shower. I've taken Jack down there a couple of times. Um, it's, you know, it's harder for us to get together like video wise because of all of our schedules, but Dave and I did a state fair video a couple of years ago. It was fun doing that again. I should reach out and ask it for old time's sake, maybe in a midnight screenings or something, because that would be a really good fun throwback. Dave did the cover for he did the cover for Skinamax. It's well, you're watching this mirrored, so it doesn't. That looks like did I think Dave did something to the title on there? No, no, it's mirrored. But yeah, Dave did the cover for it. He did cover for my second book too. So no, it's always fun to catch up whenever, well, you know, whenever we can. Um, Sean Scanlon. Are you ever going to do any movies whenever Jack gets older? I remember, oh, directing a movie? I remember one idea you had was a parody of Hallmark movies with Tamara. Yeah, that was the original title was something else. Then I changed it to A Christmas Sacrifice. It was gonna be right after Jesus Bro, and Tamara was the lead, and she was the same character that she played in Jesus Bro. The wait She's in Jesus Bro for one scene where she plays a waitress. So I thought it'd be cool. It's like my next movie should have her as the main, have that character as the main character. Um, I don't know if I would do. I would turn it into a book. I would do that. If there's a scenario where I can do like a couple books a year or something like that, I would turn it into that. Because it didn't get deep enough into production where it made it to a final draft. It made it to like a second draft, but not a final one. So turning it into a book, there would probably be some changes, or maybe not a lot of changes, but some to make it work more as a book, other than you're kind of just reading a script. Um, it what's the word I'm looking for? Making it to where it would make sense reading it as a book. Um, so yeah, no, I don't know if I'll. In terms of directing again, there was a movie I was gonna direct, that I was about to direct. I wrote this movie. It was called Introducing Donna. It was a follow up to a movie. I did this movie years and years ago. It was called Midnight Heat, and it was an '80s cops and hookers and serial killers movie. And the one of the main characters in it, a character named Donna, who played a prostitute in it. And so I wrote this script that was like a dramedy that was set in present day, that was sort of like what would this character be up to now, like a few decades later. And I was really in love with that script. I really wanted to do it. And I wouldn't turn that into a book. I would want that to be a movie. But um, then lockdowns happened and that project shut down. And I just never had the time to pick that back up since. Maybe someday, I don't know, because I did really like how that script turned out. Um, but I wouldn't be opposed to doing another movie again. I honestly, I really do like doing books better now, because I feel like, for better or worse, the books are what I want them to be. The last movie I directed was Disco, and it's, you know, that movie was only like about 10% of what I wanted to do with it. Before I did that movie, whenever I directed something, I worked very well with a micro budget. I was pretty good. I was experienced in working with micro budgeted stuff, shot on video stuff. I could always make it work with the means that I had. Disco, it was probably the easiest shoot that I had, because we only had a very limited amount of time to shoot it. So nothing went over schedule or anything like that. You know, I got it done in the time that it needed to get done. But because time was so limited, and the space I was working with was smaller than I thought it was going to be. It's a good looking space, but there was that movie turned out to be like a fraction of what I wanted to do with it. There was a lot that couldn't be shot. There was a lot that could have been shot better, but it had to be shot quick. That was one where I think me doing it micro budgeted kind of hurt what I wanted to do with it. But whenever I've watched that movie, I have a good time with it. I do. I think there's funny stuff in that movie. I think the acting is great in that movie. It's got some of my favorite performances from the people who were in it. There's, you know, the few times that I've watched it, it's been a while since I've seen it, but no, I'll look at parts and I'll be like, oh, that's pretty funny. You know, that works. This performance great. That performance is great. Then when I step away from it, I kind of remember the stuff I wanted to do with it, but couldn't. So it was kind of after that where I was like, let me try writing, moving on to books. I'll use a script that I wrote from class of 86 to kind of get used to writing in that format, because at least I'm starting out with a base. I can learn from the reviews. When I write the second book, I can really pay attention to the criticisms of class of 86. And I did. I focused on what people liked about it, focused on what all the criticisms were of it, and that reflected in the second book that I did, which I did, love. That's Bat Pussy. I love Bat Pussy. I love that book. That I would love to turn that into a movie but I would never have the budget for that. But what was your original question? Oh yeah, the Christmas. Maybe I would try my hand at directing something else again. I would just have to know that I have the means to make it how I can with the limited budget that I had. But if you like disco, that's good. Yeah, I don't dislike that movie. It's just sort of it's not what I pictured in my head. Um, Oops, hang on. The chat went away. Sorry.
Unlike regular
I don't.
hoodies, bearskin
Hang on.
hoodies
The
actually
ad
go
is playing.
outdoors,
That's not coming from
leading up to the toughest
from your
days.
screen. Um, oh, is it not letting me go back? Hang on. Oh, here we go. Okay. Consider review. I'm going. I had to refresh it. Sorry. Um, so I'm going back to where I left off. Da, 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 da. Okay, here we go. Loknar1, hello from DeKalb. Thanks for talking about some good movies like Double Agent 73. Love the EGA poster in the background, right? I talk about the classics, Double Agent 73. I don't think I ever reviewed that movie. I know I've referenced it. Did I do that on one of the trailer episodes? I might have. I might have talked about that movie in that one. I'll add it to the polls. Double Agent 73. Jacob Matthew Crawford. Evening, my man. Evening, buddy. Speaking of the Poonaverse, did you hear that the script for Blood and Honey 3 is apparently being written by Richard Stanley? Really? Right on. Cool, man. Hardware, Richard Stanley. What was the desert movie that he did? Because I did a midnight screenings on that. Well, there's Island of Dr. Moreau, of course, or part of it anyway. Written by Richard Stanley, right on. I'm looking forward to Blood and Honey 3, because I did really like the second one. And if Richard Stanley's attached to this third one, I'm down, man. I mean, I would be watching it anyway, but now I'm extra excited for it. Sean Scanlon, do you realize it's been over 11 years since you guys reviewed since you witnessed Kirk Cameron Save Christmas? It's true. Before that movie, Christmas was illegal. And Kirk Cameron made sure that we can all drink hot Dust Devil. Thank you, was the Richard Stanley movie. Kirk Cameron will make sure we can drink our hot cocoa and do a impromptu dance and have our turkey dinner with the presents that resemble the skyline of the New Jerusalem. He can make sure we can do all that without fear of life imprisonment. That is an example of a movie that topped my worst of the year list, but was maybe my favorite movie of that year. Man, the movie made money because it cost nothing to make. He just filmed his Christmas party. Have him save other holidays. Why didn't they give us a sequel to that? There's 5 God's Not Dead movies. Jacob Matthew Crawford, after seeing you and Doug hold up each other's books in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, I was curious, have you read Santa Quits? Also possible bedtime story for Jack? I have, because I have read it to Jack. Before his bedtime. I had to read it to him because he had to make sure that Santa's back, because we're going to go see Santa here in a couple days. John Bondi 52. Would you review documentaries on Angel Studios? Documentaries on Angel Studios. Is it a documentary on Angel Studios? Or did Angel Studios do a documentary? Hang on, I'm looking it up now. Oh, okay. So I see these listed for like theatrical screenings, like the religious documentaries, like Fathom Events does a lot. I never really review them because I'm like, well, I don't know what to say about a lot of these. So I don't even know how I review them, really. I mean, unless it was something akin to a documentary of Kirk Cameron saving Christmas, because I do consider that movie to be a documentary. But no, I'll be reviewing that Angel Studios movie that comes out next year. You guys seen the trailer for Animal Farm yet? Just as Orwell intended, when the line of all animals are equal, just some are more equal than others, followed by a chicken shitting himself. I remember that from the book, as well as the kicking needle drops and the animals on their way to the slaughterhouse, and one of the pigs is shaking his ass and saying, who wouldn't want a piece of this? Oh man, yeah. I can't wait for Illumination to do 1984, which would most likely have a soundtrack made up of all the hit songs from the year 1984. That Animal Farm looks terrible. I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see that. It looked like a parody. It looked like it'd be a fake trailer on a sketch comedy show. Here's the wacky Disney-fied version of Animal Farm. Jacob Matthew Crawford, which cosplay performance of yours is your favorite? Indiana Jones from Suburban Nights or Darth Vader from To Boldly Flee? Indiana Jones was the most comfortable. Because it was, let me think. I think it was kind of chilly when we made that. I mean, not like freezing, but it was raining a lot. And so the costume that I had was like appropriate for that weather. So I was kind of cozy in the jacket and the hat and everything. And I remember when I showed up at the hotel, because when I packed to come to the shoot, I took a train. it was easier for me to just wear the jacket and hat as opposed to just pack them. So I show up at the hotel at the front desk, and they're like, "What name are you under?" And I'm just, Jones. She thought I was fucking with her. I was like, no, that's it's my last name. I dress only as Indiana Jones characters. With the Darth Vader and To Boldly Flee, I only had to wear that for like one scene. I mean, it was a long day of shooting, but it was hot. It was hot because there was, the set lights and everything. So it was hot under the mask. But it was so worth it. The shot where I take the mask off and I'm like legit like drenched in sweat doing it. I'm like, no, keep this in. That's hilarious. To take it off and just pouring down sweat. I didn't have to. I mean, there was a lot of choreography in the scene, so it was a long shooting day, but it's not like I was sitting there the entire day in that mask. In between takes, I would take it off and everything, rub some water on my face. Eclectic Annual. Have you ever tried getting your reviews on Rotten Tomatoes? I think I did once, but I don't think I'm big enough to do Rotten Tomatoes. I'll try applying again. I don't know what the criteria is for it now, but I should probably try that again. Why not? It'd be fun to be on Rotten Tomatoes. I see enough movies. Sean Scanlon. Ideas. Have you and Walter see Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke re-releases? Do a midnight screening of it since you guys haven't seen them. Yeah, we were talking about this recently. Was it on camera? I remember this same thing got brought up. I don't remember if it was during a midnight screening or if it was during one of the convention Q&As that we did. But it did get brought up at some point. And I think we were like cool with it. We were like, yeah, that would be a pretty good idea. It's all about scheduling, of course, if we're free at the right time to see them. But they re-release those movies all the time, so it shouldn't be that hard. No, yeah, I would do it. My first time seeing them, to be seeing them in the theater. Great Rottweiler. Have you considered reviewing movies from the dark era of Disney like Black Hole, Dragon Slayer, Black Cauldron? Those need more love. I would. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, let me actually write some of those down. I know some of those I talked about in the 80s and film series, but it would be cool to revisit them and do like a proper review of them. I'll just write Disney. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about in my scribbly notes right there. Sean Scanlon. What happened to Jared and Laura? Those two haven't been on camera for a while. That means they died. Jared moved. Jared moved back to his hometown, but no, we keep in touch. Yeah, I'll have to ask him when he's coming back up again, so we can do a video for old time's sake. Laura just doesn't care much for doing videos. Honestly, a while back she kind of helped me out and did some midnight screenings with me, but it was never really like her thing necessarily. She enjoyed acting, like in Disco, and she has a small part in the second Snob movie. But for midnight screenings, she wasn't like super into it. She would just kind of do it sometimes to help me out especially during lockdown. She helped me out quite a bit during that. Oh, I've seen this show, John Bonnie. There is a show called Crime Scene Kitchen. That's true, but I want them to investigate a murder. All they're doing is looking at the mess and seeing like, well, what could that crumb have come from? Quiche? It is a pretty good show. I've seen Crime Scene Kitchen. No, I liked it, but it also needs to be a murder mystery. Rachel's Baby. I know who this is. Hey Brad, loving Skinamax so far. I laughed so hard when the dad was telling Shannon that his daughter was going to school to play the banjo. I know what part of the book that is. If you guys haven't gotten my book Skinamax yet, Go get that on Amazon. It's paperback, ebook, and hardcover. And when you buy it, it's not mirrored like it is in this video. Yeah, that's the part where Shannon, she has a court order to coach a roller derby team, and decides to really emphasize the graphic violence when she inspires her team. But the one girl has a very stern father who wants her out of the game, and he wants her to focus on her music, specifically banjo skills, until Shannon has to like try to keep her on the team even though she's collecting people's teeth. So if you love roller derby and softcore Skinamax movies and women in prison films, you'll love Skinamax. No, thank you. I'm really glad you're enjoying it. It was a really fun book to write, and it was fun kind of reliving a lot of those Cinemax subgenres and tropes that I remember from when I was young, and kind of putting them all in one story. Drew Pittman, 1485. Sitting here slowly waiting for the remaining Puppet Master films to be reviewed. Yeah, I should probably start putting those on the polls more, because usually whenever they were on the polls, they would win. I think I put the fourth one on there one time, and it didn't win. But yeah, those and like the Chainsaw Massacre ones would usually always win the polls, except when I put the remake of Chainsaw Massacre on there. And I think, what won? Was that when Dark Knight of the Scarecrow won? No, because I would have picked a lot of Halloween episodes. Yeah, there was one year where there was 1 week where it was like a shock. I thought the remake of Chainsaw would win, but maybe it was, I don't know, was that when If You Could See What I Hear won? Having watched If You Could See What I Hear, I understand why they wanted an episode on that. Bahoma Vidya channel. Got no question, but I've been watching your stuff since 2010. Oh, so you probably remember the Serbian film review. Thanks for giving me so many great recommendations over the years. Could have done without the Bushwhacked Fever, but I did love Last American Virgin. Last American Virgin, despite having a lack of Bushwhacked Fever, is the far superior film. Although Last American Virgin, it doesn't have Bushwhacked Fever, but it's got crabs. Teaches you to drown them in the swimming pool. That movie taught me everything about life. Love, loss, getting rid of crabs. Sean Scanlon, favorite Robert Redford movie, and Gene Hackman perform. Favorite Robert Redford movie, he says Jeremiah Johnson, Butch Cassidy, The Sting. Gene Hackman performances, Mississippi Burning is a favorite. R.I.P. to both. Have a great holiday season. Favorite Robert Redford. My first Robert Redford movie I saw was The Natural when I was a kid. I watched that a lot when I was a kid. My dad's a big baseball guy. He played baseball too. And so he was big into The Natural. So I grew up watching The Natural. Roy Hobbs, man. And Michael Madsen, Crashing into the Wall. Yeah, I would probably, it's probably the most sentimental to me of all of his, because it's the one I grew up watching. It's the first movie of his that I saw. The Sting is great. Butch Cassidy is. What was that one? What was that one from the 60s where it was a war movie? And John Saxon was the bad guy, because it was like, was it the Korean War? Where John Saxon was a crazy soldier and he was doing vigilante stuff, and like he was just going out like murdering people at night. That was good. That was like Redford's, I think that was like his first starring role, their first major role really. And it's him versus like, yeah, crazy Saxon in it was a War Hunt? Is that what it was called? Yeah, check that one out. That one's underrated, man. Gene Hackman. one I grew up watching the most was Poseidon Adventure. Or, well, I mean, the Superman movies, but I love those 70s disaster movies, those Irwin Allen flicks. So, love the Poseidon Adventure. I could put that one on anytime. Unforgiven, he's so damn good in Unforgiven. He just shot an unarmed man. Well, he should have armed himself. That one is, yeah, that's one of my favorite Gene Hackman movies. John Bondi 52. Any Donald James Parker film could be a snob episode. Let me look him up. Oh, he did Gramps Go to College. Okay. I thought you were talking. First, I thought you were talking about Donald Farmer. I was like, Donald Farmer. I know I did one of his. Didn't he do Savage Vengeance? That was one of my earliest episodes. Donald James Parker. Okay. I've got Gramps written down on the list over there. AJ Canada says, my cast, you can nominate and vote if someone has enabled it. You can even create and cast a movie that the cast can never be changed with nominations and votes. I'll look more into it and see if that's something that I could do over here. But I do like doing these Q&As. These are fun. You guys bring back a lot of memories. Big Jack Films. Happy holidays. Good to see you at Galloping Ghosts. Oh, thank you. That was a fun event to do. Was the last one in line Saturday with the King Kong tooth. I remember. That was really cool. He had a tooth from from King Kong, from the Universal Studios ride. I hope the same tooth that's featured in the King Kong when that ride was featured in the classic film The Wizard. Was fun hanging out with you. Great hanging out with you too, man. It was really cool seeing that King Kong tooth. Jaeger Hosner, I have so many questions to ask, but okay. That was, sorry when I skipped past all you guys earlier. I'm sorry. Let me go down to... Okay, here we go. We're caught up. Ali Inoka, 9487. Are you excited or interested in any upcoming physical media releases, either from Arrow or Criterion? I don't collect as much as I used to, other than, I guess, the popcorn buckets. But even then, they've started making so many of these damn popcorn buckets, and they're getting more and more expensive. That Tron Ares one is still $75 over at the movie theater, and that movie hasn't been out for a while, or it has been off screen for a while. So no, I don't. Even these, I did start running out of space, as you can tell. There's some stacked over there. There's the Toxic Avenger one I got there. There's oh yeah, there's some down here. What do we got? Oh, of course, yeah. Why? Obviously, I'm the only guy with the Borderlands one. I love it when I do love having the ones for movies that turn out bad. My giant Madam Web one over there. I got. I think there's a Dark Phoenix one over there. There's a. Do I have? Oh, Wish. I forgot. Sometimes they're convenient for when I have to remember that I even saw something like Wish. Oh, there's Black Adam. I think I got a Wonder Woman 84 one around. Some of the horror ones I'll still collect. I got the Michael Myers one over there. Got the Chucky one right there. So yeah, no, I don't even know all upcoming Criterion releases. I just don't collect anymore, really. They're releasing Eyes Without a Face. Oh, they're doing. Oh, I guess they did earlier. They put out Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Oh, that's cool. If I was still collecting, I would get that. Jaeger Hosmer. One other one. I don't know if you'll ever get to it, but I love 007's License to Kill. Quick thoughts, please. License to Kill is awesome. It's great seeing Bond in a really personal story like that. This is a straight up revenge film where Robert Davi, he messed with the wrong man. He messed with Felix Leiter and sicked some sharks on him. So it just becomes, like this personal vengeance story with Bond tracking him down, and I love it. And Timothy Dalton is perfect casting for that kind of Bond and that kind of Bond story. Timothy Dalton is great in his two movies. And they really, I love The Living Daylights. That one's sentimental to me in that it wasn't the first Bond movie I saw, but it was the first Bond movie I saw in theaters. And and he's great in The Living Daylights. You could tell his strengths were certainly his intensity in being this Bond who is smooth but also looks like he can freaking kill you. He can turn on the charm and just turn on the anger like that, and he's great at it. So they did emphasize a lot of that in License to Kill and had him saying kind of less one-liners in that. And so both of those I think are great Bond movies. And yeah, I'll definitely get to License to Kill. I'm trying to squeeze it into where I can do more Bond movies as like an extra episode throughout the week. Not every week, but consistently putting out more Bond episodes as opposed to a lot of the big gaps that I've had between them. I just did On Her Majesty's Secret Service, so the next one will be Diamonds Are Forever. Yeah, I'll get to I will eventually get to that. I'm just going in order. John Bondi 52, yeah, sorry man. He says you missed a lot of earlier super chats. Yeah, sorry about that. I just scrolled down a little too hard. Bling Blong Digni 7471. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Please check out fear.com. Visually cool, but the plot is laughable. Grew up with it being an early 2000s horror movie VHS. I saw fear.com in the theater, and I actually remember really liking it. I mean, you're right about the plot being laughable, and there's certainly some holes in it. But I liked it. Visually, it was really striking. It kind of has this unnamed city aspect of it that's almost Seven in a way. It's constantly raining. The building structure looks a little similar, and I like that type of thing where it's kind of in the world of this gritty cop movie who's after a serial killer, but it's a horror movie, but it's a ghost movie. I mean, it's a rip off The Ring, but I like the style of it. I did like the story. You're right. There's holes in it. There's silliness in the movie. I don't know what I think of the movie now, but when I saw it, and I remember the musical score being good. I can actually still remember the musical score from it. There was some randomness in it, and they were kind of not very strict with the rules they set up in the film, but I liked it better than a lot of critics did, and critics hated that movie. Ebert was more lenient on it. I think he gave it like 2 out of 4. He still gave it a thumbs down, but even he admired it from a visual aspect, which I do. It was a good looking movie. Oh, speaking of, but yeah, I would put that on the polls. If anything, it'd just kind of be cool to watch it again, because I do remember liking it. Maybe I would like it less now if I saw it again. Felipe 3904. Did you enjoy Siskel and Ebert growing up? Not only did I enjoy Siskel and Ebert growing up, because there would be so many obscure movies that would be put on my radar because of Siskel and Ebert. Whether they were little movies that they were very glowing towards, or stuff that they hated that looked like they would be up my alley. I still watch Siskel and Ebert all the time when I'm editing a Snob episode, when I'm editing the Year in Film stuff. I have my Siskel and Ebert playlist playing. Sometimes I'll write down some stuff to put on the polls, and they stopped doing this in the early 80s, but when they would do the Dog of the Week, they have Spot the Wonder Dog, and then later it was Aroma, the Educated Skunk, to do the dog and the Stinker of the Week. Those segments were great for a lot of reasons, because one, it's usually an exploitation film, so I can write down a possibility of things to do on an episode, and just the fact that they saw some of these movies. There's one of them where Siskel's dog of the week was Dr. Butcher, MD. I love so much that Siskel went to the theater to see an Italian cannibal movie. And it was Dr. Butcher, MD. And they would have fun talking about him too. That's the thing. I know I've made a lot of references before, and it was certainly a big inspiration for the character. Ebert getting really mad at Friday the 13th Part 4. There was others that they would get pretty mad at, like Silent Night, Deadly Night. Forget what else, but Friday the first Friday the 13th they did, but definitely they did I Spit on Your Grave. But when it was the Dog of the Week segments, and again, it's usually a slasher or an exploitation movie or sexploitation movie, a lot of kung fu movies too. They actually have a lot of fun talking about them. They don't like them because they're the dogs of the week. But when Siskel was talking about Dr. Butcher, MD, they were having a lot of jokes about it. They weren't sitting there like kind of doing like they were when they talked about Friday the 13th, the final chapter. No, they would kind of get in some jokes about it. There would be movies on their dogs of the week that are some of my favorite movies, where I'd be like, that's your dog of the week? One of them was Miss 45. They put Vice Squad on there one time, and I'm like, guys, your dog of the week is the best movie of the week. No, I really liked that segment. There was one where they were talking about what went into them picking the dog of the week, and so they said that if they didn't already see something that works for dog of the week, they would look at the newspaper and base it on the title and figure like, well, that has a good chance of being dog of the week, which is probably how Siskel found Dr. Butcher, MD. But they were still honest, because there was one where it was when Siskel was talking about their process for how they see a lot of these movies that end up as dog of the week. But they were still honest, like, because one of them, he said, he goes, my dog of the week actually isn't a dog. He goes, I went into it thinking it would be, because I looked at the newspaper, and the movie was Adios Amigos with Richard Pryor, because it was a re-released movie. So he saw that thinking, oh, well, this is just probably going to be something bad from 10 years ago that now that Richard Pryor's popular, they're putting it back out in theaters. And then he goes and sees it and really liked it. So they were still honest. Like, if they thought something was going to be the dog of the week, they would still be like, actually, no, I ended up really liking this Richard Pryor, Fred Williamson movie. Drew Pittman, 1485, says, I did miss Dave's takes on Fantastic Four and Superman. Him comparing them to, the new ones, the new Fantastic Four and the new Superman. Him comparing them to Man of Steel and Force Stick would be interesting. Oh, there would be some amazing comments in that video. Last time I talked to him, I don't think he'd seen the new Fantastic Four yet, but he did love Superman. He really loved James Gunn's Superman. I don't remember what else he said about it, but I don't think he had gotten around to seeing the new Fantastic Four yet. I'm assuming he would really like it if he did, because I mean, I've seen it, and he would like it. He would like them better than Man of Steel and Force Stick. Oh, hang on. Scrolled down too far again. Scrolled down way too far. Okay. Zach Saripa, 8885. Hey, Brad, huge fan of your work. On the topic of cult movies, what are your thoughts on Alice, Sweet Alice, and Messiah of Evil? It's been too long since I've seen Alice, Sweet Alice, but I love Messiah of Evil. Messiah of Evil is, I think, one of the best, most underrated horror movies of all time. It is creepy as hell. And I first came across it, I'm looking at the big box VHS for it, I got right up there. When I came across it, I first heard of that movie because in Annie Hall, there's a scene where where is he? Is he in LA? I can't remember. He's going down the street and there's a marquee playing with a couple of horror movies on it. And it focuses in on it. And one of them says Messiah of Evil. That's how I first heard of that movie. I'm like, Messiah of Evil? What a title. Gotta check that out. And it was, back then, it was really easy to just be at a store and find a copy of Messiah of Evil because it would always be on those like cheap diamond DVDs, or any compilation DVD you would get would usually have Messiah of Evil on it. So it was a pretty easy movie to find. I watched it and it creeped the hell out of me, man. It's from the writers of Temple of Doom and Howard the Duck, but I love Temple of Doom and I love Messiah of Evil. Messiah of Evil, check that out. It's way better than Howard the Duck. John Bondi 52. Did you watch Shelby Oaks by Chris Stuckman? I did go see it. I did. I didn't hate it. I saw a lot of negative reviews for it, and I didn't have. I just went to go see it out of curiosity. And because yeah, it's not every day that I go see a movie in the theater made by someone that I know. And have worked with in the past. Yeah, there were issues that I had with it. Again, I didn't hate the movie by any means or anything like that. It had me in the first 20 minutes when it was the YouTube stuff. That I thought was well done. And then it was kind of a lot of things from different movies. And I get that. I get taking inspiration from, Blair Witch, Hereditary. Trying to remember because I saw it the week it came out. And I've seen a lot of stuff since then. But because there's certainly a lot of stuff I like that does similar things where it'll take, this is a little bit of this is a little of that, this is a little of that. And I get that. I've done stuff like that before. Skinamax, it's a little bikini movies. It's a little cop thriller. It's a little space, prison stuff. But it was kind of just those things. I hope that if he does another movie, you can get a sense of his voice more when it comes to certainly paying tribute to a lot of different movies and a lot of different styles that you like. Because that's when a lot of movies do that, when it's like, oh, this is, okay, here's a good example. Ari Aster, when he did Midsummer, you can look at that movie and be like, I've seen stuff like this before. It's a little The Wicker Man. It's a couple of other things. But it does have its own voice to it. You can tell it's an Ari Aster movie. You can tell he's putting his spin on that. And with Shelby Oaks, there wasn't a lot of that. I feel like it would take another movie to get a sense of what his voice is, other than this is a little like that movie, this is a little like that movie. Now, I didn't think the movie was terrible by any means. The cinematography is good. He has nailed mood. He has nailed atmosphere. Thought the acting was good in it. There were some things where I was like, it's weird that that's in it. Because I know whenever I've done something and I'm watching like a rough cut or something, I'm sitting there going, I'm taking notes. I'm saying, if I was to be reviewing this movie, what would I really be making fun or making jokes about or criticizing? And even in the final cuts of my stuff, I'm like, oh, there's plenty of stuff I criticized my own movie Disco earlier. When it was there were things that happened in it where I was thinking like, I wish he didn't let this happen. Like characters doing things like leaving a knife behind and dropping it, and there's a thing with blood that's on her face for a while. But people say like stick to directing, don't write, because the strength is in directing more than it is the writing. And yeah, the strength is more in the directing than it is in the writing. Whatever compliments I could give to the movie, it has to do with the atmosphere, it has to do with the acting. The writing, not so much, but I don't want them to quit that. Take what you've learned from any criticism of this, see if you can do something else, and certainly take inspiration from things that you loved before. But find your own kind of voice to go along with it, to make it very uniquely yours. But no, I didn't think it was a bad. I didn't think it was a great movie, but I was kind of in the middle on it. Wasn't planning on reviewing it. I just went to see it, just out of curiosity. Again, like I said, it's not every day I go over to my AMC and being like, oh, I was in a Star Wars video with this guy. Oh yeah, the first time I met him, we were talking about the Christmas Story Live musical in the car. That happens whenever you meet me for the first time. We just go in the car and start talking about movies. I'm glad it was that movie too, because we had a lot to say about that film. Oops. Hang on, it's kind of stuck. Come on, I know you can scroll down. Hang on, sorry, I gotta refresh this again. Oops. Sorry, I gotta refresh the super chat again. I know that there's some more on here. Here we go. Maybe. Sorry, my screen's frozen. Let's wait for the ad to pop up. Then I'll know I can see the chat again. It's taking its sweet ass time this time. Yes, I know, holiday sale. Just show me the chat. I don't need to see the ad right now. I know. All right, hang on. Sorry, guys, sorry. Turn the volume down. Okay, hang on. Sorry, just if you're still watching, okay. All right. I'm seeing text. Here we go. I see me sitting there like this, deep in thought. All right, let me go back to the super chat. Here we go. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Eclectic Inui. Speaking of Animal Farm, have you seen the 1950s animated film version of it? I have. I got a good story about this. It's rather dark, but it's really good. That's what he said. No, and I agree. It is good. I do like that 50s one. So I saw that movie because I was taking a novels class in high school, and we were reading Animal Farm. And when we had to talk about it, I hadn't finished it yet. I don't remember why. I hadn't finished it yet or something. And so I rented that movie from the video. So I did the thing where you rent the movie, but I did read most of the book. I don't know, probably got distracted with something. I don't know. But I watched the movie, which has a very different ending than the book. And so there's me sitting in class going like, "Oh yeah, and the ending was cool too when the animals all take revenge on everyone." They're like, "That's how you read the ending?" I'm like, that is what happened, isn't it?" um yeah. So I thanks to that movie, I kind of had a different interpretation on the ending when we were talking about it in class. It's like George Costanza on Seinfeld talking about Breakfast at Tiffany's, the book, and he accidentally references George Papard. Oh yeah, and the voice work on the animals are great. Oh, it'd been great if I rented the wrong movie and sitting there like Animal Farm was great. I cried my eyes out when the spider said he was some pig. um Domingos Jr. 6805. What about satanic Skinamax movies like Crystal Force, Mind, Body, and Soul, or Witchcraft? I should do episodes on the Witchcraft movies. Those I didn't see a lot of when I was younger. I was all about the bikini movies, the legal thrillers, the cop movies. Didn't see a lot of the satanic Skinamax movies, but maybe I should. You know what? I'm gonna write that down. Uh, yes, I'll write some of those down. What in there like 30 witchcraft movies? Oh, that'll be a feat getting through those. John Bondi 52. If Donald Parker and Donald Farmer made a movie together, it'd be something like Redeeming Love. That's something that I want to do a snob episode on, but that movie is long. It's over 2 hours, but there's a lot of material in Redeeming Love. We have a midnight screenings review of it, so if you want to see that, we do have a midnight or did I do a midnight screenings of it? I know I reviewed it. Maybe was it midnight screenings? Either it's midnight screenings or it's one of the shorter reviews that I did, but I do have a review of it. And yes, get either of those directors to do a remake of that. Are you excited about getting an IMAX 70mm location in Chicago soon? Yes. Closest one to you guys was the Indiana State Museum in Indianapolis. Oh, totally. I'll go see it to see some re-releases. That'd be awesome. Oh, sorry. I guess I missed another one up there. Sorry about that. Jake Matthew Crawford, cool stream tonight. You missed Drunken Booze super chat, so I'll repeat their question. Favorite Terrence Hill films? Off the top of my head. I guess the one that I remember the most is They Call Me Trinity. I haven't seen as many of his as I probably should have, but we used to do movie nights a lot where we would watch like some of the Trinity stuff, and those were always really fun. Granted, they were movie parties, so I was usually drunk. So I remember drunk me liked it. But yeah, no, I should probably check some of those more of those out sometime. Visions in Sound 2000. You mentioned Seven. Have you ever considered the Easter serial killer film from 2000, Resurrection, shot in Toronto but made to look like Chicago? Right? Didn't was that Jennifer Lopez movie Angel Eyes that did the same thing where you see it's Chicago but you see the Toronto skyline in the background? No, I don't think I've seen that movie Resurrection. One that would be funny to do would be what was that? Solace, the one that started out where it was supposed to be a sequel to Seven, and it was going to be Morgan Freeman's character, but it was more like paranormal or something like that, or supernatural. And so it was going to be the sequel to Seven until David Fincher was like, you better not do that. And they turned it into this movie Solace from 2015 with Anthony Hopkins. I never saw it. I've heard like bad things about it. So Maybe I'll put that. Hang on. Where's my crayon? Or Jack's crayon that I'm just borrowing. Solace. I'll put Resurrection on here too. Shit. Just as my episodes are just me having an excuse to watch certain movies. AJ Canada. Sorry, it cuts off your full name. He says Caligula 3:16. Oh, you've got the same Bible that I do. It's the Bible with the funky disco beats on the B-side. John Bondi 52. Have you heard of The Carpenter's Son, the Nick Cage movie? Yeah, where he plays Jesus' dad. Yeah, I haven't seen it. It was playing around here, but I didn't go see it. But I'll make that a snob episode. Same with, I was thinking about this movie earlier that I had a blast at. That movie, Devil Conspiracy, where they were going to clone Jesus so that devil worshippers could do the ultimate human sacrifice to Satan. And then a badass priest saves the day. Yeah, man, that movie was great. I need to, oh, yeah, I'm going to write that down. Because I was just thinking about that one earlier, where that was one where I was like, that needs to be a snob episode. Then I kind of forgot about it for a while till it came to me again earlier. Drew Pittman, how's Ryan been? He's been doing pretty good, I think. It's been a while since I talked to him. Last time I talked to him was the last time I was visiting Springfield and we all went out to eat. I think he's still doing a lot of editing work. He tells me a lot of, whenever we talk, he tells me about a lot of stories of some crazy stuff he's editing. But no, best of my knowledge, he's still doing well. We'll get together, I'm sure, next time I'm in Springfield. Sean Scanlon, R.I.P. Yeah, this was sad, man. 60 years old. We lost Peter Green. And yeah, in the chat, it says, oh, that line's been coming up. Yeah, Zed's dead from Pulp Fiction. Man, I love Peter Green. He had a good run there in the early to mid 90s. Had a couple of cool indie flicks he did there before Pulp Fiction and The Mask. And he could be in just like one scene of something and just you remember him decades later for how good he is in these scenes. And the chat says it right, he's a badass villain in The Mask. He's great in that. You look at him, his kind of roles he was doing there in the early to mid 90s would be the type of were akin to like these really cool like 80s Eric Roberts movies you would see. I mean, Peter Green was that good, and he could have a thankless role in something like he's one of the villains in Under Siege 2, and so it's not like his character has a lot to do in that, but he still makes it his own and is in a couple of memorable scenes in that. Like, he can elevate what's written on the script in something like, Under Siege 2, and still make you remember this character. And that was sad, because I love Peter Green. Was just, he was a great actor, and I wish he went on to do a lot of the types of roles that he did that you would see him do in the early mid 90s there, because that was a talented guy, and it's very sad. Okay. Corpo Agent 73, your animal story reminds me of how I got my 5th grade health class to watch Reefer Madness, right? You gotta do a report on Reefer Madness, but you accidentally watched the musical version. That's okay. We also read 1984 in that same class. And I did watch the movie too around that same time. Which is a good movie. The John Hurt one. Jacob Felger, 5684. Hey, Brad, been a fan since the late 2000s when I was in middle school. I'm often reminded of how long I've been doing this. Oh, right, I do have gray in my beard now. I probably shouldn't admit that. I probably shouldn't admit that with the stuff you reviewed back then. Dude, I remember one of the first cons that I did where, okay, we're going back to like late 2000s. One of the first cons that I did, I got, or maybe this would have been around 2009 or 2010, I can't remember, but there was like this 9-year-old who came up to me at a con and asked me if I was the guy who talked about E.T. the porno. I'm like, is this a trick question? Is call back to my Chris Hansen reference earlier. How did you see this video, son? Tell me it's not the first E.T. movie that you saw. Yeah, you recognize me from talking about E.T. the porno. That was a long time ago, so that kid is probably like 43 years old now. That's how long I've been doing this. Domingos Jr. 6805. 1998 Wicked with Julia Stiles. I don't think I know that one. I would watch the Mockbuster. Oh, that movie. No, I didn't see it, but I know that I recognize that box cover. Because did that come out around the time of The Rage Carrie 2? Because that's like an identical ass cover. I'm assuming nothing to do with The Wizard of Oz. There is a mockbuster of Wicked that's out right now called Wickedness. And it looks like all those movies where it's just some people in a house in the middle of nowhere and something shows outside to get them. This one happens to be a witch. Sean Scanlon, do you remember when Crystal Skull came out? Yeah, we saw that in the theater. What were your expectations? I personally thought it was okay, especially since Dial of Destiny came out. Yeah, my expectations of it were, that it was going to be great because it's Indiana Jones. I don't even hate that movie. I got a lot of problems with it, but I was fine with it when I first saw it, but we were all hungover. It was the morning after a buddy of ours' bachelor party, and we went in the next morning and we were really hungover. And you know what? I take that back. Probably weren't hungover because we weren't really that sick. We were probably still drunk, is really what was going on there. And yeah, like, we were fine with it. We were kind of shit-faced. Later on, when I saw it again, I was like, okay, now that I'm sober, this has some problems. But there was still stuff in it that I liked. I actually like the fridge scene. I do. I think it's funny. I like the idea that he's in this atomic bomb town and gets in a fridge. And the only thing I don't like, it's not the idea of the scene that I don't like. Because, I mean, we've seen Indiana Jones jump out of a plane in a raft and stuff like that. What makes the stuff like that in the older movies work better than the fridge is just the fridge stuff. It looks like a cartoon. It's a CG effect of the thing flying through, so you can't buy into it as much. Whereas the way that it's shot in the other movies with all the practical work that they're doing, they make you believe that this is happening. It doesn't look like a CG effect. But I still think the fridge scene's funny. And honestly, I did like it better than Dial of Destiny, only because I remember Crystal Skull more. It's really it. Like, there are things in Dial of Destiny that I like. I like a lot of the themes about aging in it, and he is kind of thinking of himself as this relic of the type that he's been looking for years, that he himself belongs in a museum. Was interesting stuff in there, like, you have this opening scene where you have this guy who has all of these amazing stories throughout his life, especially during the war, and then you cut to him in the 1960s and he's just a guy on the subway. He's just a guy living alone in this apartment watching TV. I wish there was more stuff like that in it, because I was really liking that stuff. Other than that, it just felt like such a committee movie. I didn't get a sense of a lot of the director's voice in it. Um, and I gave an edge to Crystal Skull. Only Crystal Skull has more dumb stuff in it, but I remember that movie more than Dial of Destiny. So I gotta give it that. Dial of Destiny, there was just kind of a lot of stuff that went in one ear and out the other. It didn't make my worst list by any means, but neither Crystal or Dial of Destiny I thought were terrible. I'm never mad if they're on. I just don't. I'm never gonna rewatch them, really. Unless I'm drunk and stumble into a theater again like I did with Crystal Skull. Okay, I think this is the last one. Cody Bishop 7526. If you ever run into the Red Letter Media guys. Oh, we did. Oh, wait. No. For a second, I thought there was maybe someone who was in like a one of the crossovers me and Doug did, but no. No, I never have. I know they keep a lot of their stuff pretty in-house. I don't know if they do a lot of convention appearances or anything like that. I don't think they do. If they have, we've never been at any of the same ones. But no, never met them before. Totally would. That would be cool. That would be cool to meet them in person. But if they go to cons, we've never been at the same ones before, and I don't think they do. So, all right, I think we're good here, people. I'm gonna refresh this just to make sure that I got all of them. Sorry, I accidentally missed some earlier.
Let's talk about a gift that you will actually.
I am not getting that gift for you. Or well, actually, well, maybe. All right. I could use some beard wash, actually. Actually, wait, I think I do have some of this. Never mind. Okay, I'm going to scroll through the super chat again just to make sure I got all of them. And looks like I did. So, okay, well, that was fun. You guys had some great questions. Thank you so much. You guys always have great stuff for me to talk about. It's cool reliving so much. Thinking back to the days of oh yeah, I do remember the 9-year-old recognizing me from reviewing E.T. the porno. So, all right, we're gonna get out of here. We'll do this again in a couple weeks. I'm going out of town next weekend, so I won't be able to, but oh wait, actually in a couple weeks I think it's Christmas. We'll find some more time to do this again because this is always fun. So all right, thank you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I've had my cereal, so now I need my special eggnog while I watch my cooking shows and true crime. All right, everyone, again, thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend. Take care. Beep.